Hello, my name is Mia McDonald, and I'm a senior here at Westwood State. I'm a business management and economics double major. And today I'll be presenting on the fair trade coffee industry and how it can be used to reduce income inequality that exists for the farmers who grow it. So, a little background to start off. Coffee is a global commodity, as I'm sure all of you know, very popular, consumed daily by billions of consumers. It's actually the second most actively traded commodity in the world market, and the prices for this are established in the different stock exchanges. Um, but the issue with this is that the stock exchanges are a far cry from where the coffee is actually grown in low income countries and communities. And it's an extremely labor intensive and time consuming crop to grow. And so, what this means is that there's a large discrepancy in prices at the point of sale for when Western companies and countries purchase it, for example, and when it's harvested in these other countries like Ethiopia. And one documentary looks into this pretty extensively. It's called Black Gold. I definitely recommend it if you have time. But it just really shows how many people in the country depend on coffee and really illustrates how high prices are charged overseas versus how little the farmers receive. So it might go for $230 a kilo overseas, but the farmers only receive 57 cents of that. So this is a massive price disparity. It's not fair price. And this is exactly what fair trade as an organization seeks to address. This is an extracted resource problem that is completely undervalued. So the way fair trade works is farmers pay to enter the organization and sell their product under that label, under that brand. And that is because then fair trade can charge consumers a higher price for it because they understand that fair trade represents ethical growth. So when you're buying fair trade, you're supporting things like safe working conditions, you're supporting no discrimination and more opportunities for women and farmers, you're supporting no child labor, no hazardous pesticide use, etc., and fair benefits and wages. So in order to be accepted into fair trade, again, farmers pay to enter the organization and then they undergo a rigorous certification process and then are audited throughout their participation as well. And the result of this is that farmers get a guaranteed minimum price, so essentially a price floor for the sale of their coffee. And then they receive an additional premium that they can use to reinvest into different social and environmental welfare initiatives in their communities. And the problem that we're facing stems environmentally first off. So climate change is obviously a very pressing issue for everyone. And basically it's going to result in more unpredictable weather. And coffee is a crop that requires very specific circumstances to grow. And climate change as a whole also disproportionately affects low income nations, which is where coffee is grown. So coffee farming requires higher altitudes, and as climate change presses on, farmers are going to have to move higher up on mountains to be able to grow their coffee. There's going to be less land available. It's going to contribute to decreasing biodiversity and deforestation. All of this is just going to drive climate change, and coffee farmers will receive less yields of their crop and then reduce their income even more. And then some other economic concerns. The main one is demand for fair trade. Consumers have to be willing to pay the extra price. And if they're not, then there won't be enough to support the premium that farmers are receiving. And there will be really no point of the product. So one interesting solution that has been helping with climate change and helping farmers get more out of their income are these Purdue Improved Cowpea storage bags. It's a cost-effective way for farmers to store their coffee beans and protect it from external factors like heat and humidity. So basically, then less coffee is wasted. They're able to sell more of what they grow, and it makes them more productive in the face of fewer crops already because of climate change and degradation. And really, it's just a way to protect their income. So what I wanted to do was propose an economic policy, in this case, a 15-cent subsidy on the price of fair trade coffee so that more farmers are able to convert to fair trade and they can receive a fair price for their work and labor so they can better invest in their communities and they'll be more adept for the future. And so what I did was I created a model using Vensim software to simulate the fair trade coffee industry. And that is shown right here. In the table, I have some of the key data points that I used in making my model. A lot of it is based off of the Black Gold documentary and the Oromia Coffee Union, which you can see their logo right here. And so it starts with conventional farmers who then convert to fair trade. They grow their coffee, which goes into the fair trade market and is a function of the amount of coffee that can be saved from the PICS bags. And then with the coffee that's sold, they receive benefits from their price premium and the subsidy as well in this green box, which they can then reinvest into sustainability spending to purchase more bags and into other benefits for their community. And then this again feedback loops into more benefits for each farmer, which influences more farmers to convert to fair trade and fulfills our policy goal. So the results of our policy down here, without the policy, this is what happened. We had fair trade farmers increasing at a decreasing rate, and annual net benefits modeling or simulating the same growth as well. Benefits per farmer, same thing, increasing, and number of the PICS bags also increased, as well as coffee waste, because that just accumulates. And then with the policy, the subsidy implemented, we were able to see the annual net benefits did increase a bit over time, as well as the number of the PICS bags that were able to be purchased. And the benefit per farmers, the red line is the results with the subsidy. So there's a very clear increase with that there. So ideally, in our model, the number of fair trade farmers would have increased, or at least done so at a faster rate, but we saw no changes in that with the policy. However, there was a clear success with the benefits per farmer increasing. So this would indicate to me that the subsidy was at least effective to some degree, because farmers ended up better off. They received more benefits than if they sold their coffee conventionally or sold fair trade alone. And then they could really reinvest this money into their communities, whether it was building schools and providing more education, such as the Oromia Coffee Union has prioritized, or clean water, so many other initiatives that will make the communities better off and better prepared to face ongoing climate change issues. So one other consideration that I think is important with my model is the percentage of benefits that are reserved for sustainability or purchasing the PICS bags was assumed to be 10%. This is an amount the farmers can decide amongst their communities. I ran a few additional simulations of my Vensim model to see what would happen if we increase this amount to 15% or 25%, so that farmers could produce more bags. There would be less waste, and then more would convert. However, in these figures below, figure 6, there was no additional marginal benefit for increasing this amount beyond the 10%. So I therefore concluded it would be best for farmers to only reserve 10% for the purchase of the PICS bags, and instead save the other 90% for other social and environmental initiatives. And then down here, we just have a few images of different members of the Oromia Coffee Union, again, from that Black Gold documentary, if anyone's interested in watching it. And I also have a bibliography upon request if anyone would like to learn more about my sources. But thank you for watching, and I hope you were able to learn something about the fair trade coffee industry.